All right, folks, we're diving headfirst into DIY tree trimming today.
That's right, getting those hands dirty.
And you know what? You wouldn't believe the treasure trove of info we dug up.
Oh yeah, we went deep down the rabbit hole this time.
We got a full-blown Tree Care 101 episode, video podcast, blog post, even some spicy social media takes on the whole deal.
A real multimedia extravaganza.
Exactly. And you know what really caught my eye?
Let's hear it.
The three-cut method. Never heard of it before, this deep dive, but apparently it's
It's a game changer for sure, especially for those thicker branches,
right. So before we hack away at our trees all willy-nilly.
Yeah, safety first. Always got to emphasize that.
Absolutely. But first, why don't you give us the rundown on why we're even bothering with all this tree trimming stuff?
Okay, so picture this, right? You've got these beautiful trees gracing your property, adding that touch of nature's majesty.
Sounds lovely.
But here's the thing. Without proper trimming,
Oh,
they can become a safety hazard. Oh, absolutely. Overgrown branches can break off, damage your car, or even worse.
yikes. I never thought about that.
Yeah, and then there's the health of the trees themselves. Trimming helps them grow strong and resist diseases.
Makes sense. So it's like a spa day for your trees?
Haha, yeah, something like that. Plus, let's be honest, well-trimmed trees just look way better.
Okay, so it's not just about looks, but it definitely helps with curb appeal.
Right. It's a win-win all around.
All right, so before we unleash our inner lumberjack, let's talk safety.
Okay, cha-cha.
Sources were super serious about this stuff.
As they should be. This is not a game.
Gloves, glasses, a hard hat. Did I miss anything?
You're on the right track. But don't forget about that ladder.
Oh, right, the trusty ladder.
Make sure it's sturdy, extends well past the branch you're on, and placed at the right angle. Actually saw this crazy social media post.
Uh-oh, what happened?
This guy nearly took a tumble because his ladder wasn't positioned, right? I mean, talk about a close call.
See, this is why I need these deep dives. Okay, safety gear check, ladder check. Now, what about the tools? The sources were throwing around terms like pruning saws and loppers.
Okay, so think of it like this. You wouldn't use a flathead screwdriver on a Phillips screw, right?
Yeah, different tools for different jobs.
Exactly. Same goes for tree trimming. Each tool is designed for specific cuts and branches. You want to choose wisely to get those clean, precise cuts.
So you're saying my trusty, rusty old saw might not cut it.
Well, it depends on what you're trying to achieve.
Okay, point taken. I wouldn't want to hurt my trees.
And using the wrong tool can actually do more harm than good, you know?
Really?
Like how? Well, imagine trying to prune a thick branch with tiny hand pruners.
Oof, that sounds like a recipe for disaster.
Not only would it be super difficult, but you could end up ripping the bark and damaging the tree.
Yikes. Okay, so the right tool for the job is crucial. Now, what about the actual cutting techniques? The video was showing all this stuff about removing dead branches and cutting outside the branch collar. It felt like I was watching tree surgery.
You know, it kind of is. It's all about making those precise cuts to help the tree heal properly.
So it's not just about hacking away at random.
Definitely not.
No.
Take the branch collar, for example. That's that swollen area where the branch connects to the trunk.
Right, I think I've seen that before.
So you always want to cut just outside the branch collar. That gives the tree the best chance to seal up the wound and prevent disease.
So what happens if you cut too close?
Well, you risk damaging the trunk and leaving it vulnerable to infection, kind of like leaving a wound open, you know?
Okay, got it. So we're basically tree surgeons now.
Precisely. We're helping our trees thrive.
Now, what about that three-cut method I mentioned earlier? That sounded pretty hardcore.
Oh, yeah. That's the gold standard for dealing with those bigger branches. You know, the ones that could cause serious damage if they break off.
Right, I've definitely got a few of those in my yard.
So the three-cut method helps prevent bark from tearing down the trunk when you remove a heavy branch.
Interesting. How does it work?
Okay, so first you make an undercut about a foot out from the trunk. Undercut. Okay, got it.
Then you make a second cut further out from the trunk to remove most of the branch.
So that takes the weight off, right?
Exactly. And finally, you make a clean cut just outside the branch collar to remove the remaining stub.
Wow. That's a lot more involved than I thought.
It takes a little more time, but it's worth it to protect your trees.
Speaking of protecting trees, let's talk about some common mistakes people make. I know I'm guilty of a few myself.
Oh, we've all been there. I think the biggest one I see is topping.
Topping, what's that?
It's when people just chop off the top of the tree to reduce its size.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. It doesn't look very pretty.
And it's terrible for the tree. It weakens, it makes it more susceptible to disease, and honestly, it just looks awful.
So it's like giving your tree a bad haircut.
Yeah, something like that. So avoid topping at all costs.
What other tree trimming sins should we avoid?
Over pruning is another big one. You never want to remove more than 25% of the tree's canopy in a single year.
Why is that? Removing too much can shock the tree and stunt its growth. It's like suddenly going on a crash diet after years of overeating.
Okay, so moderation is key.
Got it. And of course, don't forget to clean up those branches and debris afterwards.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely guilty of leaving those lying around.
Uh-huh. Well, it's important to remember that those piles of branches can attract pests and diseases. So do your trees a favor and clean up after yourself.
All right, will do. The blog post also mentioned something about seasonal considerations for pruning, like how pruning certain trees in late summer can be a bad idea.
Right. Pruning at the wrong time of year can stimulate new growth that's vulnerable to frost damage. So it's important to do your research and know the best time to prune different species in your region.
It's amazing how much goes into taking care of trees.
It really is. They're these silent giants that provide us with so much beauty and shade. We got to show them some love in return.
I'm feeling a lot more confident about tackling some basic tree trimming now, thanks to all this info.
Glad to hear it. Knowledge is power when it comes to tree care. But remember, if you're ever unsure about something, don't hesitate to call in a professional arborist.
Absolutely. They're the true tree whisperers. Now, before we wrap up, here's a little something to ponder. You know how the blog post mentioned how trees and urban environments face unique challenges?
Yeah, like pollution, limited space, all that jazz.
Right. So next time you're out and about, take a look at the trees around you. Can you spot signs of good or bad trimming? It's a fun little way to apply what we've learned today.
You know, that's a really good point. It's like a real-life tree trimming scavenger hunt.
Exactly. And with that thought-provoking image, we'll bid you adieu. Until next time, happy trimming.
Happy trimming, everyone.
And stay safe out there.
Absolutely. Trees are great, but safety is paramount.